Once again, you're watching PJ Collection Clothing, and in this video I'll be showing us how to make a simple senator top. With it will be a short sleeve. It will have this 3D front design. It will also have a rainbow zip at the center, then pipe neck. Now these are the various measurements we'll be working with. The chest is 40, the sleeve 9, round sleeve 15, the neck 17, the top length is 40, while the shoulder is 19. So now remember, the front, this is the fabric I'll be working with. Well, I will not be showing us how to do the cutting. I'll just go straight to the sewing aspect because I've already done series of cutting, so you can watch my previous video on how to cut. It's the same thing. Now to begin with, this is the front panel, and this front panel will have the 3D front design. To have this 3D kind of design, then it will also have the rainbow zip at the center here. Then the neckline will be piped as well. Alright, so to begin with, we'll start on preparing the 3D. Remember, there are some that has a fancy pocket, but in this case it will just be the 3D shape without the pocket. If you want to put the pocket, fine. So to do that, I have a pattern here. It's actually these attachment papers. I had to put a masking tape at the middle so it will be wide. Now you did the drawing. You're drawing it in this format. You're drawing it in this format. This is the format of the drawing. You go by this. I don't know if you're seeing it clearly. Then you go by this. Then you now go by this. You also go by this. We are doing the drawing now. Then go by this, and now move up. So this is the shape of the diagram you arrive at. So make sure that from here to here you have 5 inch, depending on how wide you want it to be. From here to here 5 inch. Then this slant here 3 inch. Then you make sure that this point here 6. Then here to here 5. Remember, these two distance should be equal. So then this one here. Then you make sure that, remember that these two lines should be equal. So if you're having 5 here, you make sure that this is also 5. If you have 6 here, you make sure that this other one is also 6. If you have 3 here, you make sure that this other one is also 3. Is that taken? Alright, so having said that, this is what I'll be using. This is the pattern I'll be working with. So we tell I use 6 1/4 inch. Then this slant here, I used 3 1/2 inch. Then this straight line here, I used 9 1/2 inch. So make sure that the two, like I said, this line and this line should be equal. You also make sure that this slant line here and this other line should also be equal. Then you may also make sure that this line and this other line at this down should also be equal. Remember, I'm not using a pocket, so this is the pattern I've drawn. 6 inch, 3 1/2 inch, then 9 1/2 inch. So the same thing to the other 3 lines. So I'll be doing this on a black. Remember, this is the pattern I did. So I'll be placing this on the pieces of black. I'll be using black on this. So this is it. So I'll quickly cut this on a black fabric. Now, before you do this on whichever fabric you want to use, you make sure that you gum the wrong side with your cloth gum stay. I've showed us the different type of gum stay. Use cloth gum stay for yoke gumming and this type of work. So here is a cloth gum stay. As at when I was doing this video, I don't have the black gum stay, so I'm using the white gum stay. So you gum the wrong side of your fabric. After that, you now place this on it. You place this on it, then you now trace as shown. You now trace all through. Alright, so I've done the cutting, so this is what I have. So the next thing is I'll be folding the edges all through. So I'll be folding the edges all through. So we'll be doing that while you use your hemi gum to gum it down. Be folding this all through, all the edges. We're folding it neatly. So we'll do that now. Alright, so at this stage, I'm through with the 3D shape. I'm through with the 3D shape. So I'm through with the 3D shape. So this is the shape. Sorry, you want that clear? Okay, so keep that aside. So the next thing is that 3D shape will be at the middle here. So you make sure like this is center of, as you can see, this is center. So this will be at the middle there. It will be at the middle. Now, from this neck down to where to start, I'm using 8 inch from the neckline, from this neckline here down to where to start, I'm using 8 inch. So from here, and you make sure that the middle of this 3D shape, the middle of the 3D shape is also at the middle of the front panel. So what I'll quickly do is, before we do this, we'll now fix our rainbow zip at the center. Remember we said we are fixing our rainbow zip, so this zip will be at the center. So we'll first of all fix this zip before we now put this at this point here. So this is what to do. As at when I was doing this video, there was no matching zip for this. So remember, this is just a practical on how to fix this zip. It's just a practical. So the next thing I'll be showing us how to fix this zip at the center here. Alright, so the next thing I'll be doing that, so I'll be putting a slit at the middle as shown. I'll be putting a slit. Now the depth of the slit is 8 inch. So watch carefully. At the end of where the slit is, I'm putting a small notch. Putting a notch this way. Then I'm also putting another notch this way. Okay. So we'll turn this to the back. Remember, there is a cloth gum at the back. Remember I said you're supposed to use a black, but as at when I was doing this video, so you now fold this. Now this is the wrong side of our fabric. So you now fold this to the back. Very small, as you can see, very small. So you iron this down as shown. Alright, so as you can see, I've done the folding. So I used hemi gum to gum it down so it will relax properly well. So quickly turn this to the front panel. So this is the front part. Okay, so we have this neatly, as you can see. So now remember, the rainbow zip goes under that hem. So this is how our rainbow zip goes. As you can see, now put your rainbow zip at the down part as shown, as you can see, and you make sure that you sew it very closely. You make sure that, remember, the rainbow zip is at the down, so you bring this to, and you now stitch at the edges here round. You now stitch here round. So when you're through stitching that part round, remember this is the point where the 3D zip covers up. This is the point here. So first of all, you sew this rainbow zip stuff round. So let's do that now. I'm trying to sew the edges of our rainbow zip round. Try to sew it round. And make sure that it's very close. Make sure that it's very close. Trying to sew it and make sure that it's very close. Alright, so at this stage we are through fixing the zip at the middle. So the next thing I'll put in is the 3D at the center. Remember I said your 3D should be at the middle of your top. Remember this point is rough, as you can see it is rough. So you make sure that the 3D is covering that point there. We said the distance should be at least 7.5 inch from this neck down, 7.5 inch. And you make sure that the 3D is at the middle of your top, so that by the time your client is wearing the fabric, it won't be bent. or disorganized. Alright, so the next thing we'll be doing is for us to now sew this round. We'll now be sewing this round. Now if you want to put a pocket, there are some person that can decide to put a pocket. If you want to put a pocket, kind of a fancy pocket here, you can decide to, but this is how to go about. So you now sew this round. So let's do that now. So I'm trying to sew the 3D round. Okay, so at this stage we're through sewing this part now. So we've sewn this today. So the next thing I'll show us before I round up is this neck. Remember, there's a zip and you're piping this. So what you do is, now for you to have a relaxed pipe neck, you make sure that the neck circumference is very round. As you can see, I used my pencil, my fabric pen, to draw this to make sure that you have a round circumference. One. Then you also make sure you cut your fabric in a bias form. I'll be using this. I've already showed us how to pipe our neck. So you go through PJ Collection clothing page, our YouTube channel, you'll see that. So you cut this in a bias form and you use your hemi gum to gum this. Now you zip this down. Take note, you zip this down. Then after zipping down, now trim the neck to make sure that the neck is very round. You make sure that your neck is very round. Okay, trim this other part too as well. You're trying to make sure that you have a very round neck before you pipe it. Okay, so this is what you have here. Make sure your neck is very round. If your neck circumference is not round, you'll find it difficult to pipe a relaxed neck. Alright, so we now have this. So we'll now pipe this. So I'll be using this black to pipe this round. So let's do that now. Now we're about to pipe the neck. Now this is the bias I'm using for the piping. Now in piping this kind of neck circumference, you need to make sure that the bias is out a little, so that by the time you zip up, it will protect the zip not to lose out. So you make sure it's out a little from the zip. Take note, it should be out a little, so by the time you zip up, it will serve as a guide for the zip not to pull out. Okay, so now sew this round. Take note of that. Sew this round. Softly. Okay. So we're doing this round. Alright, so I'm through piping the neck. So you now zip up. So you now see that this bias is not acting as a guide. So this is how to pipe. So the next thing is to fix the sleeve. Then after fixing the sleeve, we join them with our through. So this is how to go about making a 3D top short sleeve with a zip at the center and the piped neck circumference. Once again, you're watching PJ Collection Clothing online class.